Good morning, family, and welcome to my family's basement. My name is Mohinder, and I'm really honored to be a part of the daily encouragement that our church has been organizing. And thanks to our ecclesiastical staff and the technical leadership who've been organizing this, all I have to do is hit play and email this video, and quite a few of our members and other people will be encouraged. So, we're talking about miracles. I'm going to be looking at Luke chapter 5 in verse 12. And this is one of my, an encouragement that I'm getting from a miracle of Jesus is a healing. So many of his miracles were healings. And what I love about Jesus' healings is that not only does he address the usually clinical or physical condition of the individual that he's loving, but also restores them as a full person. And this healing is no different. He's healing a leper. In verse 12, while Jesus was, it says in of Luke chapter 5, while Jesus was in one of the towns, a man came who was covered in leprosy. When he saw Jesus, he fell with his face to the ground and begged him, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him. Then Jesus ordered him, "Don't tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priests and offer the sacrifice that Moses commanded for your cleansing as a testimony to them." Now, I believe even the most astute Bible scholar would struggle to fully appreciate the gravity of what Jesus was doing. Now, surely with modern medicine, we can understand that to a lot of degrees, or modern doctors or somewhat like healers that could possibly have addressed a skin condition like this man had. And it was obviously quite acute because it says that it covered his entire body. And this would have been horrific sores. There were rules in the Jewish community in the first century and beyond that Moses established that would have said that these would have been raw sores with boils, and it would have been really bad. So not only with this, so therefore no testing was needed, right? This person definitely had a condition of some sort, and it would be bad enough that a priest or someone else would have rendered him unclean. And so we can understand that to a degree now because we're all kind of under that social isolation, and we've been experiencing it here in Pennsylvania probably for the last 3-4 weeks. This gentleman would have probably have been experiencing not just the physical inconvenience or symptoms of his illness, which could have been itching, pain, who knows, loss of limbs, but he would have also experienced the social isolation. And not just the social isolation, but the shame of knowing that he couldn't participate in even, there's no internet, many aspects of his life that he would have valued, especially the ritual community aspect, and especially the religion, which is such a part of Jewish community, he would have been excluded from. And Jesus here completely heals the situation. And obviously, we know he takes away his leprosy, but lots of us would appreciate the fact that Jesus reaches out and touches the unclean man, something that no one would have done even for months, perhaps years. That Jesus wanted the person to know that he was valuable. Whoever he was, he could have been a rich man. He would have been stripped of his wealth. He wouldn't have been able to participate or enjoy anything in his life. If he was poor, his agony would have been redoubled. And Jesus restores his dignity, not just restores him physically, but touches him, lets him know how much he loves him by being willing to be ceremonially unclean, by reaching out and making physical contact. And I'll wrap up, Jesus continues just with this idea of restoring the whole person, or not just the idea, his intent, his always intent, not just to heal us and make us whole in this life, but to set us up for restoring our time with God, our relationship with God, by asking him to go show himself to the priest. And this wasn't Jesus kind of trying to make sure he checked the boxes or dealt with some bureaucracy or, broke quarantine. It was him reminding the man that probably who was so much in joy, not to just go running back into the towns, but rather to show himself to the priest so they could declare him safe to the rest of the community, so that this man could have received the honor and the ceremony that went along with it. He would have shaved his head and his eyebrows, and everyone would have gotten a chance to appreciate, because of the ceremonies and because of what he would have done that would have changed his physical appearance, that he was restored, that more people would have been able to see that there was a miracle of God, that that miracle would have been shared with the community, because there would be some physical evidence that someone who was kind of lost to the community, would now have been restored. So I hope during this time, as we are ourselves experiencing some of this isolation, I was just running on the street and dodging people because I'm trying to stay 6 feet apart. Doctors are tweeting on Facebook, and other social media, the risk that they're putting themselves at to treat people, that we can appreciate God and God in the flesh, and the risk he put himself at, and the lengths he would go, to give us that miracle, to restore us in the mayhem, and that will encourage you today. I love you, my brothers and sisters.